Hello everybody and welcome back to Dollar Tree Dinners. I am here in my new kitchen and today we're going to be making my Dollar Tree Christmas dinner for 2024. This year I'm making Christmas dinner with a bit of a twist as I kind of decided last minute that this is going to be entirely no bake and it is going to be stovetop only. So as usual we're trying to do 3 courses, so that is a appetizer, a main dish, and a dessert. And I actually spent under $20 this year. I spent $16.25. I did that kind of strategically. As you guys will see, I did not include any vegetables in this. I wanted to leave it open so that you could pick whatever vegetables or sides you prefer. So I'm just doing the appetizer, the main dish, and a dessert. And then there's some wiggle room in the budget that you can add in other things that you might want to add in for your family. So we have a really simple little haul here. We can just go from left to right. So we've got a carton of milk. This is whole milk. I also have some raspberry preserves. I have some brown sugar. I have margarine and their cream cheese style blend. I have 2 packages of smoked deli ham, some crackers. These are like their version of Ritz crackers. 2 boxes of potatoes au gratin or scallop potatoes, depending on what you can find. I also have 2 boxes of French vanilla jello pudding mix and some ginger snap cookies. So as a reminder, each item is $1.25. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 items. That is why this is $16.25. I like to do things like this from time to time where I not only limit myself to shopping at Dollar Tree, but I limit myself to certain tools and appliances, hopefully to make this holiday season a little bit easier to navigate. This is my 3rd year doing a Christmas dinner. I have also done 3 different Thanksgiving dinners. You can reference any one of those for some additional ideas and inspirations. And I know it's a little last minute because Christmas is just a couple of days away, but also if you want to check out that Lisa Dawn, she posted her Dollar Tree Christmas dinner yesterday, so you can check out her video as well and see if there's any ideas you get from that. Because this is a no-bake, stovetop only Christmas dinner, it should be very easy to put together. We're going to go ahead and get started with the dessert first. For my dessert, I'm going to be making a ginger snap trifle. One thing I want to add to this trifle is a caramel sauce. Now normally I would buy some pre-made caramels and just melt them, but I'm going to make the caramel from scratch this time. We're going to start with 1 of our 2 sticks of Imperial. We're going to plop that into a saucepan. We're going to melt that over medium-low heat. We've got some fun new angles with this kitchen. I can really get you a view of what I'm doing. So again, we've got this 1 stick of margarine. We're going to melt that down very gently. We don't want it to burn. Now, a lot of you might already have brown sugar. I did go ahead and budget it in just in case. I was pleasantly surprised to see not only light brown, but also dark brown sugar at my Dollar Tree. I feel like that is a little bit more of an obscure ingredient, so I was surprised. I'm gonna add 1 cup of that light brown sugar. And I am probably gonna make this a salted caramel because you guys know how much I love salted caramel. It's one of my favorite flavors. So there we go, 1 stick of margarine, 1 cup of brown sugar. And we're also going to do 1/3 of a cup of whole milk. Typically you would do heavy cream, but I can't get heavy cream at Dollar Tree, so we're just going to use milk, but we're going to use the heaviest milk that we can, which is whole milk. You can also use evaporated milk if you have that, but I didn't want to have to budget in a second kind of milk, so whole milk it is. I am going to get that up to like medium high-ish. We're gonna let that come up to a boil. Oh yes, I forgot. I was gonna do a salted caramel, so I am also gonna go ahead and add in some salt. A good like couple of pinches. Once that comes up to a boil, I'm gonna set a 3-minute timer. And we're just gonna let it cook down a little bit. Use a big enough pot so that this doesn't boil over. Give that a little bit of a stir, but I'm mostly gonna let it boil undisturbed. We're gonna let that kind of reduce down and thicken up a smidge. There is my 3-minute timer. Let's check the consistency of that. Take it off the heat a little bit, give it a stir, and remember it will thicken up as it cools too. So I think that was a pretty simple caramel sauce. Hopefully that will go well with our trifle. I actually think that's probably the perfect consistency. I'm obviously using ginger snaps to make my ginger snap trifle. You don't have to use ginger snaps. Dollar Tree actually has a lot of really great cookie options. I've just been eyeballing these for about 6 months and wanted to try them, so this is what we're gonna try them in. But basically buy whatever cookie speaks to you personally. I wanna try one of these first, see if it's good. Oh, are they all shaped like that, or is that a weird one? Okay. I was gonna say that'd be cute if they were all like gingerbread men shaped. I would say that Dollar Tree cookies never miss, but that would be a lie. I have definitely had some really bad Dollar Tree cookies, but I would say that like you can't really go wrong with like 75 to 80% of them. The ginger snaps are good for sure. So to make this trifle, I kind of have to ration this milk a bit because I have 2 boxes of this French vanilla pudding. And to make both boxes, you need 4 cups of milk. There is 4 cups of milk in this whole carton, but I do need some milk to make the potatoes. There used to be pie instructions on these boxes, which called for less milk to make a firmer pudding. That is essentially what I'm gonna do. Instead of using 4 cups of milk to make both boxes, I am only gonna use 3 cups of milk to make both boxes. Ideally, I would have just been able to use 1 box of pudding mix and then add some Cool Whip to lighten it up, but I haven't been able to find Cool Whip at Dollar Tree in a long time, and I thought that if I only got 1 box of pudding mix, I might regret that. So I just went ahead and got 2. And I did go ahead and pre-chill this milk. So there is 2 cups. So I did 2 cups of milk, and then I did a 1/2 cup of milk and a 1/2 cup of water, again, just to stretch my milk a little bit further. It's not enough water to really make a difference in the flavor of the pudding, and we're just gonna whisk that until it's nice and smooth. We're gonna set that in the fridge to let it soft set before we assemble our trifle. Only like 5 or 10 minutes. In the meantime, I think we can work on our appetizer, which is actually going to be incredibly simple. It's just going to be some crackers with some raspberry cream cheese. Another reason that I kept this under $20 is because depending on what Dollar Tree you shop at, they might charge $1.25 for this cream cheese style blend, or they might have brand name Philadelphia cream cheese for $3. I have let this cream cheese soften to room temperature, and you can leave it in the block, but I'm going to explain why I don't really like to do that with this particular cream cheese. I don't think that this cream cheese has like the best texture straight out of the block. It's very dry. It's almost like feta cheese. So I think the best way to kind of fix that is to whip it or kind of smooth it out mechanically. So again, this has softened to room temperature. I'm going to just use a fork and kind of mix it until it's more pliable. That just gets you a better overall texture. So once that is nice and smooth and creamy, you can transfer it into a small bowl for serving. And then this is where the raspberry preserves comes in. I'm gonna add a couple of spoonfuls of that right on top of the cream cheese. You can also layer it throughout the cream cheese if you want. And that will serve as a dip for our crackers. You are gonna wanna leave this out at room temperature so that it doesn't firm up, so that you can actually use it as a spread for the crackers. And at this point, our pudding should be nice and soft set. Let's give it a test. Oh yeah, perfect. So now we can assemble our trifle. Use any serving bowl that you prefer. I got this one from Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna start with a layer of ginger snaps at the bottom. And then we're gonna do a layer of that French vanilla pudding. Just really work it up to the edges of the bowl, because that's what's gonna give us that trifle presentation, is when you can see all the layers peeking out the sides. And then that is our caramel sauce. So again, try to focus on the edges if you can, but give it a layer of caramel too. Not like a full layer, more of like a drizzle. So second layer of cookies. All the way up to those edges. Then fill in the center. And I definitely am glad I got 2 boxes of pudding, because I don't think 1 would have been enough. I really just kind of gently press that out to the edges, because you don't want to disturb anything you've already laid down. Another layer of our salted caramel. And I think we're going to have enough of everything to do 1 more layer. A little bit of salted caramel. We're gonna try to make this a little prettier, even though it's not really gonna matter, because I think I'm gonna finish it off with some crushed up ginger snaps. And that is gonna be the final layer to our little trifle. I do have a little bit of caramel left, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and finish that off too. And that is what our little trifle dessert looks like from the side. We're gonna set that in the fridge until dinner is ready. And now we are moving on to our main dish, which is really just these two ingredients, ham and potatoes au gratin. This is gonna be super simple. We do need margarine and milk to make the potatoes, but I told you that this dinner was gonna be incredibly easy. That's by design. First, let's get started with our ham. I have two 4-ounce packages of smoked ham. I thought that would go the best with the potatoes. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take all of these pieces of ham and I'm gonna stack them up so I can chop them into smaller pieces. I'm making a double batch of this entree. As you can tell, I have 2 packs of ham and 2 packs of potatoes. But if you're making a smaller dish to serve less people, then you can do 1 pack of each. The instructions will be pretty much the same. You'll just need a smaller pot. Just like with my Thanksgiving dinner, I am aiming to feed 4 people with leftovers. So that is why I'm opting to double up on the main dish. We got 2 nice stacks of ham, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut those each into cubes. So we are doing a 1-pan dish for the main as well. All right, I'm gonna add in a little bit of oil because the first thing we're gonna do is sear our ham to get some good flavor. Just trying to get some caramelization on the ham. Again, that's to add some extra flavor, kind of like we roasted the ham in the oven. Once the ham is fried up to your liking, I'm gonna add in 4 cups of water since we're doing 2 boxes of the potatoes. 1 cup of milk, which is pretty much all the milk I have left. And do a 1/2 stick of margarine and the ingredients from our potatoes. So the only difference between potatoes au gratin and scallop potatoes is that potatoes au gratin are cheese and scallop potatoes are just a cream sauce. So I went with what I could get at the store. You definitely can. Scallop potatoes are just not gonna have that cheesy taste to them. They're more of like a seasoned creamy potato, and then the au gratin is gonna be a cheesy creamy potato. We're also gonna let this mixture come up to a boil before I add in the potatoes. Now, as I mentioned, this is not an oven Christmas dinner. It is a stovetop only, and sometimes I think people get confused by the difference between the two. So oftentimes somebody living in a small space, like a studio apartment, or if they're in like a motel or hotel, they might have like a portable burner, but they're not gonna have access to an oven unless they have like a toaster oven or something like that. So there are situations in which someone would have a stovetop but not have an oven. And I just want to point that out in case there's anybody wondering what the difference is between the two. I've definitely stayed in hotels in the past with like a kitchenette that only had like 1 or 2 burners. Now I'm going to add in our potatoes. Give that a quick stir. We're going to lower the heat. And it says we're supposed to let that simmer for 15 minutes. This is almost done. It's got about 3 minutes left. Just been stirring it occasionally. I actually think that these potatoes cook up better on the stovetop than they do in the oven because you have more control over the heat. Plus you can't stir them when they're in the oven, so personally, I think they turn out better on the stovetop. The oven is great because you get that like nice browning on top. You don't really get that with the stovetop, but the end result I think is a lot creamier and richer on the stovetop than it is in the oven. We give that last 3 minutes or so, and then we're gonna let it rest so it can thicken up. Now I did experiment with changing up the presentation on the cream cheese dip, so I tried it with the raspberry preserves kind of swirled into the cream cheese. You can decide which you prefer. I think I preferred the first one better, but what's done is done. I can't change it now. We're gonna go ahead and put that on a serving platter. and throw some crackers on the side. You don't have to go with the crackers that I got. You can get any pack of crackers that you want. These crackers are really good. I've had them before. They are super buttery though. Like even out of the package. They feel more buttery than the name brand Ritz. That is 2 sleeves of the crackers. We do still have a third, so we could do like a crunchy topping for our little potato dish if we wanted to. I kind of just want it to be like creamy though. I don't really want it to have a crunchy texture on top, but I just want to give you that option. There is a third sleeve of crackers here, so you could potentially crush some of them up and use them as a topping for the potato dish. All right. So that is my 2024 Dollar Tree Christmas dinner. We've got some raspberry cream cheese dip with the butter crackers for dipping. We have the ham and potato skillet, I guess you would call it. And then we have our ginger snap trifle with salted caramel and French vanilla pudding. Now I think that these 2 dishes present really well on their own. This one is a little bit more challenging just because it looks a little bit more plain. So again, you can add some crushed up crackers if you want to the top. If you want to budget in for some extra cheese to go on top, you definitely can. I left 3 additional ingredients out of the budget, so you can kind of choose how you want to spend those extra $3.75. You can get cheese, you can get extra vegetables. I did contemplate putting broccoli in this, but I kind of thought putting broccoli in this would just make it a regular dinner and not so much a holiday dinner. I don't know if that translates to you guys, but that's how I felt, and that is why I did not put broccoli in this, because with broccoli in this would just be something I would eat as a regular weekday meal. So shall we make ourselves a plate? Grab one. All right, we are gonna try our Christmas dinner. Let me go ahead and make myself a plate here. I'm gonna grab some of my cheesy ham and potatoes. That actually looks super creamy and rich. I'm also going to set that aside. All right. Next, I am gonna grab me a scoop of this ginger snap trifle. Look at that. That is beautiful. You guys will have to let me know if you like ginger snaps, but again, feel free to use any cookie. I think that vanilla with caramel would lend itself to pretty much any flavor of cookie that you want, except for maybe Thin Mints. And of course, we have to get some of our crackers with some of our raspberry cream cheese spread, which I'm just gonna dunk them in the cream cheese or kind of spread it on the crackers. So this is not the most in-depth Christmas dinner that I've ever made, but again, this was by design. I wanted this to be really simple. It is much less than the $20 I would normally spend, and it was stovetop only. So there are certain limitations that we're kind of working within, and it's really easy and simple to recreate. You could even make like the trifle in advance if you wanted to and let that sit in the fridge. It'll only get better with time. So this is also a very low energy Christmas dinner, something that anybody can make. I'm gonna start with oh wait, we gotta do it in order. Let's start with the appetizer. I'm gonna do some cracker with some of our raspberry cream cheese. I already knew that was gonna be good. I've seen several variations of this that also include jalapenos for a little bit of spice. So it's creamy, it's cheesy, it's sweet from the raspberry. Then you've got the salty, buttery crackers, and all you're really missing is that little element of heat. So if you want to add some jalapeno to it, feel free. I love this raspberry preserves from Dollar Tree. That's one of my favorite Dollar Tree finds. Ingredients are sugar, raspberry pectin, citric acid. So they're really simple and they are delicious. It's a super fun little starter though. It just needs a little bit of heat. I think it would do really well with some jalapeno in it. Next, we're going to try our ham and potato dish. Also, this is really creamy. Wouldn't say that it's super cheesy because it's definitely not. It is very creamy though, and the potatoes are well cooked. They're not overcooked either. That's why I say I think they cook a little bit better on the stovetop. One thing that you absolutely could do is prepare the ham and the potatoes separately from each other. I was just trying to give you an idea of how you could do this all in one pot. You could even throw some green beans in the pot with the potatoes and the ham if you want to try to make it a complete all-in-one meal. But again, I wanted to leave it open so you could pick whatever vegetable your family likes. I love boxed scallop potatoes, and that little bit of ham does kind of give it something extra. It's probably not the most classic holiday dish, but you could make it feel a little bit more classic, again, by separating the potatoes from the ham. But you do get a little bit of ham in every bite, and searing the ham beforehand give it a nice, like, rich, crispy, it's not a crispy texture, more of like an oven roasted flavor. And then the last thing for us to try is our trifle dessert here, which I anticipate is going to be very, very rich. Since we didn't have any whipped topping or anything to cut back on the sweetness, it's probably going to be very rich. That is really good though. Ginger cuts it back a little bit because ginger snaps are not a very sweet cookie. They tingle in the back of your throat a little bit. They kind of help it to feel not so heavy, but it is still very heavy dessert. So if you could swing an extra $1 or so for some whipped topping, you could significantly lighten this up a little bit. I would definitely recommend that if you wanted to. But if you like really heavy, rich desserts, you really want something you can take like a couple of bites of and feel satisfied, this is definitely one to go for. I actually think this turned out better than the dessert I made at Thanksgiving time, which was the salted caramel apple pie cookie bars. Well, that's a wrap for my Dollar Tree Christmas dinner this year. I'm sorry it is so last minute with moving and everything, and I just got the menu finalized, I think yesterday or this morning. Usually I spend a little while kind of planning the menu and thinking of any like limitations. Like again, I kind of thought of it this morning that I should do it stovetop only. They definitely had like a thought for how it was gonna go until I thought to myself, like, if I'm making a no-bake appetizer and a no-bake dessert, I should also make a no-bake main dish as well and just make it completely small space, you know, rental friendly and stuff like that. Overall, I think this was a really fun and festive meal, and it's very like homey and classic. You've got a lot of creamy, cheesy flavors. I think you guys are really gonna enjoy this one. But I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will see you again soon.